introduce myself. I am Sierra Tribble. You can find me on social media at WhatUpCC. That is WhatUp SISI. I'm everywhere except for Twitter because I do not support Elon Musk. Right?
Yes.
Clock it. I'm so excited to have you all here for this panel discussion today. Two of my favorite authors here, Wanda M and Kelly Garrett. We're going to get into some really great topics, but I wanted to do like an introduction, so please allow me to do that. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation. We are incredibly fortunate to have with us two powerhouse voices in contemporary suspense. Wanda M. Morris, author of What We Leave Behind, and Kelly Garrett, author of Missing White Woman. Through legal suspense and sharp social commentary, both Wanda and Kelly craft thrillers that don't just keep us turning the pages, but also force us to confront deeper truths. Their novels center Black women navigating systems that were never designed to protect them, shining a light on the secrets buried by power, silence, and privilege. In What We Leave Behind, Wanda explores the hidden costs of silence, sacrifice, and survival, asking what it means for Black women to carry the truths that others would rather ignore. In Missing White Woman, Kelly confronts the cultural narratives of who gets visibility, sympathy, and justice when our lives are at stake. Together, their work challenges us to think about the lies we're told, the ones we choose to live with, and the price of uncovering what has been deliberately obscured. Please join me in welcoming Wanda M. Morris and Kelly Garrett.
You made it sound so good. I looked at it written by. I was like, who's she talking about?
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here with us this morning. I read both of your books, well, reread them rather, just to make sure I was prepared for this discussion. Thrillers is a very important topic of mine. It's one of my favorites, and I don't think we get a lot of shine and support in that area. So I'm so excited to ask you guys these questions today. So for both of you, both of your novels place Black women at the center of suspenseful, high-stake narratives. How do you balance the demands of a page-turning thriller with the deeper social commentary you want your readers to sit with?
Okay, so I always say I don't necessarily write. My goal is not always to write about social commentary. That's not my goal. My goal is to write just because I think Black women should be able to have books that are just us being, the same drama that our white counterparts do, right? I write beach reads. However, because I write about Black women, it would be unrealistic not to incorporate what it's like to be a Black woman. So for instance, if my character encounters the police, it is not going to be the same experience or how she even looks at that experience as, I don't know, Gillian Flynn, right? So like, for instance, Gone Girl is a similar topic of where it's about a missing white woman, right? But it's a completely different book because my book is about a Black woman who is caught up because the missing white woman who's all over the news is dead in her vacation rental, and she has no clue how she got there. And so all the internet and stuff is trying to figure things out, and of course they think, oh, her boyfriend must have done it. Every Black man they see, they're gonna think it's him because we all look alike. So again, I don't necessarily try to hit you on the head with it. It's a more subtle undercurrent of what I write and everything I write.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And I'm kind of the opposite. I write about the things that make me mad, that make me sad, that, do all the things. And those happen to be issues that are going on around us, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm really, really mad, so watch out. So with my first book, All Her Little Secrets, I wanted to tell the story of what it's like to be a Black woman in corporate America and how very difficult that is. And at the time, we were kind of all caught up in the polarization of what was going on in this country during the first Trump administration. So I think I did reach out because I did want to explore those issues. With my second book, Anywhere You Run, I thought, my editor was like, oh, so what do you want to write next? Are you going to do an All Her Little Secrets, part 2? And I was kind of like, I don't know. I've got this idea to write a historical thriller about two sisters in the Jim Crow South. And my editor was like, I'm gonna need to see some early pages. I don't know about that. But at the time, I live in Georgia. So we had just come through the 2020 election. There was lots of polarization around that. There was a lot of voting suppression in Georgia. And so I was feeding off of all those issues. And I kept saying to myself, didn't we solve this with the 1965 Voting Rights Act 60 years ago?
Right.
And obviously we had not. And so I wanted to explore those issues as well. And then, of course, the book that you referenced, What You Leave Behind, deals with a crime that's going on right now in plain sight, which is land theft.
Right.
Through a legal loophole called heirs property. And again, I wanted to reach those. And much like Kelly said, I explore those issues through a Black woman. So those issues are going to look very, very different than to someone who is not Black.
You both have I want to say that both, and I don't want to give too much away for anyone who hasn't read it, but they both hit me in different places. And I thought okay, well, what was the inspiration? Because for you, it's about land theft. And for me, I never even considered that was happening in the Gullah Geechee area. And so it was a whole new world for me. So I want to ask you both, what was it like digging into those stories, and how did you feel writing them? What was your thought process while going through writing something so poignant for Black women to experience?
So for me, it's really interesting. When I was growing up, my mother used to she'd do something odd around the house, and then she'd say, we'd be like, Mom, why did you do that? And she's like, oh, well, we're Geechee. And I was like, what is that? What does that even mean? But then I was also trying to get to a party and hang with my friends, so I didn't sit down at her knee and kind of say, what is the Gullah Geechee community like? What's happening there? And it was only after, I was an adult and we started vacationing in southern Georgia, down on Jekyll Island. And I started to kind of get immersed in the community, and I thought, oh my goodness. And then when I saw the heirs property issues and how they were decimating that community, because remember, and short little history lesson, so after slavery ended during the Reconstruction, a lot of Blacks formerly enslaved, they knew how to farm the land. And so they would buy this land because remember, the government had promised us 40 acres and a mule. That never came to be. So they cobbled together their pennies and they would buy this property, but it was usually property that was mosquito infested, alligator infested. Nobody wanted that land, but we knew how to work that land. And so they bought this property. But now, because developers know how valuable that property that sits and abuts the ocean can be, and they know what to do about the alligators and what to do about the mosquitoes, that property is very valuable now. So when I would go down there and we would meet friends, they were like, oh yeah, so-and-so lost their property again. And we were just like, how does this happen? And it was decimating the community. So I started to research. And then when I found these heartbreaking stories about people who, they had been born on this land, their parents had been born on this land. And I thought to myself, how does this happen? And how does this happen that nobody talks about it? And so it was through that research that I decided there's something here. I'm a lawyer, and if I don't know about this, then how many other people out there don't know about it? And so I wanted to shed light on that.
That was awesome. Thank you. Kelly?
I'm so different. So this conversation is so different. My book has a very strong social media element to it, and I'm fascinated with people's fascination with celebrity, right? In all four of my books, there's an element of celebrity in it. And with this one, Missing White Woman is from Missing White Woman Syndrome, which does everyone know what that is, right? The idea that white women who go missing are going to have a lot more attention, both online and in the news, than women of color, indigenous women, Black women. And so I was always fascinated with that, right? But also the idea of social media. So for instance, O.J. Simpson dies, right? When he dies, people are making jokes about the Bronco flying to heaven. And I'm not going to lie, I laughed. It was funny. However, because now it's this viral sensation, people forget two people died in that situation. They died very violently, and they had families who loved them, right? And so I kind of wanted to explore, we see something on social media, so much misinformation, so much accurate information, and we make these snapped judgments based on a tweet or a thread or a Blue Sky post, right? And we don't think, how does that affect the people affected? And so that's what Missing White Woman is. Again, it's that viral missing white woman, but the person affected is this black woman. And I kind of wanted to I can't say that word, to compare what we're seeing online, where we see this influencer who's decided she's a makeup influencer, but now she's decided, because it was one of her followers who went missing, she decided that she's going to become the investigator, and she's sharing all this information, and some of it's wrong, and she doesn't care. And how does that affect Bree, who's actually dealing with this? And also showing things like, for instance, there's a scene where the cops have shown her boyfriend is in an alleyway, and the missing white woman's there too. And Bree's view of it is one way, and the white influencer's view of it is a different way, because she's like, oh my God, that's so scary, he's stalking her. Where Bree is like, they just happen to be in the same place. So I kind of wanted to kind of show different elements of social media and how you see things and what we think and what we should be thinking and how it affects people.
Yeah. Thank you. Both of your protagonists face institutions and systems that weren't built to protect them. How do you approach writing tension between an individual character's voice and the power of those larger structures?
So for me, I've worked and lived in those institutions. And so, I mean, that's easy research. I know what it feels like to walk around in corporate America and people want to touch your hair when it looks like this, or, you know, those types of things. You know, every day it seems like we have to put on an armor, right? And the Bible tells us put on the armor of God, the whole armor of God, and that could not be more true, because, you know, we go out, we have to continue, and I think Rachel alluded to this, we have to continue to smile and be pleasant and de-escalate situations when inside we are freaking mad as hell. Because I don't get the privilege of walking into a room or walking into a store and knowing that I am simply valued because I'm a customer that comes in there with money to spend just like anybody else. I've been racially profiled in a store. I've had microaggressions in the workplace. I've had all the things. And so for me, writing about those things just seems like I am tapping into personal experiences. I don't know that it goes any deeper than that.
Yeah, pretty similar. I think I write amateur detectives. Like, I don't write about private investigators or police officers, you know? And so for me, it's always a common sense element. Like, okay, if I found a dead woman in my vacation rental and my boyfriend's missing and the cops come to talk to me, like, how would I react to that? And then once I'm done with that, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my boyfriend's job and see if he's there, you know, and then I'm going to learn information. So I guess, use myself as the baseline, again, because I'm a black woman dealing with black women things, like you're saying, like, that's going to impact it. And I hope it feels realistic for all people, but of course, especially us. So,
It feels like both stories feel very realistic, especially like as a social media influencer, and realizing that you do have power in what you say. Even like I could say, and it's so scary, like it feels like a real life scary story if I say, oh, I don't like this book, and then all these comments are like, oh my God, well, I'm never buying it. That's terrifying. So thank you for pointing that out.
Or you might even say something not even that bad, and then other people use your comments as an excuse to like just dog the book out or dog the person out or things like that. Yes.
It gets real crazy. What role does community? Did I show that? I didn't. What role does community or the absence of it play in your character's journeys through truth and survival?
I think so. My character Bree, her background is that when she was a senior in college, she was getting ready to apply to law schools. She gets stopped by the police, and they find drugs in her car, and it's not her drugs. So they say they find drugs in her car, and it's not her drugs. And she gets arrested, and her life it just ends. Like, her mom doesn't believe her, her friends abandon her, and so she's kind of at pause. I call her, she's at pause. She lives in the same place, the same studio, works the same job, you know? So she has no community because she's made a point to either they've left her or she's keeping people at arm's length. So when she comes to Jersey City and the situation happens, she knows one person in the city. It's her estranged best friend. Her name is Adore, who has the life she wanted. Adore's got a beautiful loft, and she's a lawyer, and she has her own business. And so her only community is that person, and it's this person that she hates or she feels like abandoned her. And so that's kind of, to me, the heart of the book is that relationship with her and Adore. Because in my view, and I think others probably feel similar, friendship breakups are just as bad as relationship breakups, right? And it's funny because, and it's so funny because my editor was like trying to talk about it, and the way she was talking, I was like, have you never broken up with a friend? Because you don't seem to understand. Like, she's like, why is Bree so upset? I'm like, because this is like the love of her, like her friendship love of her life, and she abandoned her. So that's why she doesn't trust her, and she's upset. She's hurt. And so that's kind of, there's no community in there. So that's what I kind of play with in my book.
Like Kelly said, I love this because we have like, opposite positions.
Different approaches,
So yeah, with my book and What You Leave Behind, it really is about community. And so my protagonist, she has gone away and she kind of did all the things, right? She became the lawyer. And she had this, very highfalutin job, and she had this husband, and she had all the things, and then her life kind of falls apart. Her mother dies, and that's kind of what really started it, and she is grieving the loss of her mother, and in addition, her husband walks in one night, has dinner with her, and says, you know what, I think I want a divorce. I don't want to be in this anymore. And on top of all that, she loses her job as well. So she goes back to the community from which she came. Now remember, she was like the prodigal child, right? She had done all the things, but she comes back to this community and she's broken. She literally is at the bottom of what her life has been. And it is through that community, though, that she heals. She finds that that community enriches her. And even though, and the one thing I forgot to mention is she returns home, but she returns home to her childhood bedroom in the house she grew up in, and her father has remarried her mother's best friend 6 months after the death. So broken, right? So she's living with a woman who she despises initially when the book opens, because she's like, how can my father marry somebody else? And side note, so not that my father remarried after my mother, but after my mother died, my father had a friend. Special friend.
My granddad dated his best friend's
his wife's best
friend. And I'm like, I'm lazy.
This was the woman that was, she wasn't my mother's best friend, but she was on the usher board with my mother. Okay.
Close enough. Close enough. Close enough.
I had a real problem with that.
He married his wife's best friend, and his wife gave her permission before she died.
Really?
Wow.
Sorry, one man in the back.
Married his girlfriend when she passed away. He married her best friend. It was a snake, by the way.
See, and it's interesting. I addressed that in the book, but for me personally, that's kind of what I tapped into, because I was a grown woman with 3 kids, and I had a problem with it, right? Yeah. But that was also part of the healing, right? That this was a community, and they healed each other, and so this woman kind of stepped in, not to replace Dina's mother. Dina is the protagonist, not to replace Dina's mother, but because she saw that this man was hurting, and she helped him heal from the death. And so that's the part that Dina comes to understand. But it is all about community and how these people kind of rally around her. She's got an uncle who, tells her, you just give me the word and I'll go up there and whoop his ass. Talking about her ex-husband. And so it's little things like that help her in the healing process. So the community really, it really is a book about community and a love letter to community.
I'm so glad you brought up her uncle, because I wanted to ask you specifically, how important was it to have that very protective and black male masculine character in that book? After, she had experienced the things that she experienced with her husband and how she felt about her father moving on so quickly to marrying the best friend. Like, why was it so important to put that character in that book?
I'm glad you brought that up. It was very important. So in all of my books, I try to have at least one more positive black male characters in my book, because a lot of times we don't see that in books. And I know for me, I mean, I'm a product of strong Black males in my life, Black females as well, but there's something about having a strong male presence in your life. And so Uncle Duke is Dina's father's brother, and he owns kind of the community barbershop. And he is one of these characters. Both Dina and Dina's father and his brother are both characters. You know, they're like OGs, and they still think that they're 20-something. And so they pack heat, you know, they're ready to, you know, throw down for their family. But for me, it's important to show all facets of the Black experience. And that's really why I came to writing thrillers. And I don't know if you remember this, but when I was like weeping and churning away at writing my first book, I didn't even have an agent. And I pick up Writer's Digest, and there's an article about this one here, Kelly Garrett. And I read this article, and it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. What she was saying, I want to write about the Black female experience. I was like, yeah, that's what my book is about. And I don't know if you remember, I slid into your DMs. Hi, Kelly, I'm a Black woman, and I write mysteries too. And she was gracious enough to say, you need to join this group that I'm in, Crime Writers of Color. Again, that's community, and that's what I think we write about. I think that's what we want to explore in our books.
Going off of that, what is something, and this isn't the end, but I just wanted to, since we're already on it, what's something that you guys want readers to take away from either book when they read them? Because they're two completely different stories, but they both hit, and I think especially right now with the current administration, you know, I've thought about like social media and like land theft and what laws could possibly go into effect that would completely decimate us from ever getting that land back. What is something that you guys want to take?
I think first and foremost, I hope you just have a fun beach read. You just enjoy the book, and you're surprised, and you're laughing a bit, and you're sad a little bit, and you're mad a little bit. But I think for me, it's probably again like social media, and hopefully the next time you see a tweet that seems like it's very definitive and it's a random like number, like literally the username's a bunch of numbers with no picture. Like do some more research before you don't assume it's facts because one person said it and maybe 10,000 people liked it. You know, so I think that's my whole thing. You know, and I'm not knocking on social media because I think it's great because it gives us a voice. Like it does, like the media can't control so much now where it used to be in my day when I was younger. You know, so I think it's good, but also there's some bad elements to it as well.
So I think for me, I want people to know about this issue. That's first and foremost why I wrote the book, is to know about heirs property. And invariably, I come to events like this, and I have at least one or two people who come up to me at the book signing, and they're like, that happened to my grandmother's house, or that happened to, and so the whole gist was to illuminate the problem first and foremost, and then help people to get assistance. And so there's an afterword in the book where I talk about how you can go to nonprofit agencies, legal aid, things like that. So if you know of an older relative who's been in this house forever, and, just go up and quietly ask, Madea, do you have the idea? Do you know where you want the house to go? Because it starts like that. And a lot of people, because think about it, the people who are losing their homes, they're usually what they call land rich, cash poor. So they don't have the money to do estate planning. They don't have the money to hire lawyers and accountants who can protect their money the way the Trumps and whoever do. And so the whole idea, and I hope what people take away from this book, is that they will explore these issues with their own families and their own friends and make sure that we're taken care of. And there are resources out there. There are a lot of nonprofits. Every state has some nonprofit that will assist with heirs property issues.
It's so funny. So when my grandpa passed away, we had a family home that we've had since the 60s. And as soon as I filed the will, people were calling, "Do you want to buy? We want to buy your house. We want to buy your house." And it's like the same thing because they're assuming like, oh, they're not going to be able to afford whatever they have to, or they can't wait out the estate or something. So it's so predatory.
It really is.
Yeah.
This is, I wanted to say, so before my grandmother passed away, they would have people, she lives in Philadelphia, when she lived in Philadelphia, they would have people come to the house and knock on the door and proposition her.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
text
Exactly.
Proposition
Text
her.
messages.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My family owns used to own two brownstones. We had the whole thing.
Yeah.
So when my aunt remodeled the first brownstone, they were like, "We'll give you $1 million." We're like, "No, we know it's valued at $2."
See, that's it. They prey on the ignorance of people, right? And it not only happens in rural areas, like you said, it happens in cities as well. And here's the thing, think about it this way. Land is wealth. That's why you have Ukraine and Russia fighting. Land is wealth, and people know that. And they know and they take advantage of those who don't have the knowledge about that. And so my whole hope is that I illuminate this issue and people start talking about it. Side note, when I was researching the book, I discovered that there was an heirs property issue in my own family. I didn't even know about. And okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all my business, but don't y'all tell nobody else. So
Leave the room.
exactly, that's right. So in South Carolina, I had a great uncle who had bought this property in South Carolina, off the island, and the property had been in the family. Of course, had been passing down without a will. So the relatives who are living on it, one of the relatives decides, you know what, I think I'm gonna build a barbecue shed over here on this piece of acreage. And one of the other relatives got mad and said, no, I don't want a barbecue, pit. That's ghetto and blah, 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 blah. And they became estranged. Real estate developer found out about that, and offered $5,000 for their share of the land.
Wow.
It wound up going into court, and they were forcing a sale. And so this was 50 acres of land. 25 acres of it they had to sell just to pay the lawyers. Okay? So that's half of that legacy wiped out just to pay the lawyers. Because over a barbecue shed. That's why I say, don't y'all tell my business. That wasn't in the book. That wasn't in the book. But that's how easy it happens. These real estate developers are smart. They read the obituaries. And usually in small towns, they got their ear out. They're listening. They watch who dies. They watch who, how the family splits up. Exactly. And what do we always do? When somebody dies, we start fussing and fighting over a few bits of furs and some nickels and dimes. And they're smart, and they know that, and they take advantage.
Yeah. Wow.
So, like I said, that don't leave the room, y'all. That's family.
Kelly, the protagonist in your book, I find her to be a little bit not aware of her surroundings. And
She's frustrating. I can admit
she
it.
is. I wasn't asking why did you write her that way?
Okay, so I write Black women, and so my first 3 books I wrote strong Black women. So Like a Sister, which is the one before this, like my editor was like, why doesn't she ever cry? Like, I don't understand, why is she like not showing emotions? And I'm like, because as Black women, we have to take care of this. I'm gonna take care of this first, and then I'm gonna cry afterwards, right? That's just how we are. That's that strong Black woman in us, right? And so I had done that, and I said, okay, well now I'm going to try to write the opposite. I'm going to write someone who is broken, and she is vulnerable, and she's basically a hot mess. Like, I don't think I'd be friends with her. Like, I'm fine to admit that. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, but again, I wanted to show this journey of her getting stronger. So by the end, like I said, if she's on pause, her life is paused from the beginning. By the end, you get the sense she's pressing play and moving on with her life. So that's why it was so important to me. It's so funny because, for instance, people from book clubs hate the boyfriend character, and that was not my intent. They hate him. Like, they're like, I cannot stand him. And it's so funny because my editor wanted my Bree to be team Ty the whole book, no matter what she finds out. She just believes her man so much. And I was like, people would have been cursing me out, like, because she's not team Ty the entire time, and people still, they're like, I cannot stand him, and that's fine, but that was not my intent. Yeah. But with Bree, I wanted her to be a frustrating character, and for you to kind of like, get your shit together, like that's what I wanted.
I felt very challenged when reading her, and almost like girl, why come on now, like. But in that same token, I also want to ask you about her mother, because they don't have that best of a relationship, and that was really hard, seeing her needing that relationship and not having access to it. Yeah. Why was that also important?
First of all, my mother's a great person, so it is not based on anything. I want to be clear on that, you know. And it's funny, so with like a sister, she has a broken relationship with her father, and that's the heart of that book. This one I wanted to write about friendships, but my mother, I swear to God, she wakes up, she puts Find My Friends on, and she literally says, where are all my children? And she will text us and be like, you know, you guys are 2 miles apart. Like, she literally, that's her fun, right? So if I was in somewhere and I had found a dead body, my mother would literally be there like 2 days later, like, what are we doing, girl? We gotta take care, you know? And I did not want her mother to be a big part of it. So I did make her mother an estranged person. Yeah. And I also kind of wanted to play with that idea of the person who's supposed to have your back. Like sometimes they say your mother's your first bully. Like her mother was her first bully. And so that idea of the person who's supposed to have your back first and foremost does not believe you. How does that mind fuck with you? Like how does that affect you? And so that I wanted to have that, and I kind of have a minute. I hope I have a moment where you kind of think, okay, they might be okay. Yeah. But I wanted to kind of have that element of it too.
Yeah. So. The mom, I found myself like being so hurt at certain points, but I'm like, dang, she could really use her mom right now. But all she kept saying in her head was like, I can't call my mom. Because she's gonna be like, what did you do this?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of us have had some similar experiences, but not like a full, complete experience like that with their mother. And so I really enjoyed the way you wrote that. Thank you for that. Hold on now. Right. Technology gonna do it. Okay. Oh, no. All right. Well, it didn't want me to thrive. Okay. I kind of want to talk about writing and legacy. How do you guys see thrillers as a tool, not just for entertainment, but for cultural critique or like truth telling?
Wow. You know what? I came to writing late in the game. And I had always loved thrillers, but I couldn't figure out why. And then because I started reading them because I had a job where I had to travel cross country twice a month. And so I pick up a book, and usually it was a thriller because I could read that. I pick it up in the airport. I could read it on the way out, finish it on the way back. Good. And then I started thinking to myself, okay, I'm reading all these guys, but they're not hitting the right notes. Like, you read a book and you think, if I was in that situation, Black woman, no, I'm not doing that, right? And so, that's how I came to writing thrillers. And now I think to myself, wow, I have a real opportunity, like with this book, to address some social issues. Yeah. And I don't set out to be like this, activist and, I'm going to solve the world's problems. But I think that human beings can do some of the worst things to other human beings, right? And I think I'm always trying to unwrap and explore that. Like, why are we so inhumane when it comes to each other? And I remember watching some show years ago, and this guy was like the nicest guy in the world, and all his co-workers loved him, the church loved him, but then he would go home and he would do these heinous things. That sounds like he'd be a murderer. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm always in my mind trying to think of, who is that person? I'm standing next to somebody in a store and they're having an interaction. I'm like, yeah, but what did you do last night at home?
We have the words. That's the thing. Like we're always like, there's a murderer in here. Somebody hears a murderer. I'm like, that's
And so I am always trying to unwrap and figure out, what did you do? And what secrets do you have in the back of your closet?
And I think this is what I think why thrillers and suspense works is because most of the time by the end the bad guy is caught.
Yes.
Right? And I think you could have all these things and there's that sadness because real life the bad guy, especially now, like the bad guy's winning so hard, right?
Yes.
But like so you can read a book, but like and you could have all these moments and you could have the land but by the end you're like, okay, well I feel at least that good that this time there was some justice was served. I think that's why thrillers appeal to me so much.
Exactly.
So.
And one of the things that I always do in my books too is I not only bring that closure, but I always make sure that the villain gets his comeuppance in a really, really bad way. So, they're not just going to get shot and fall down. I want to like get in there and twist it.
I want to say thank you for that because and this might go on the and I don't know, and I'm going to go on my little tangent, but Queen and Slim was a movie that very much frustrated me. Okay, it was a movie that frustrated me because of how it ended.
Yes.
And I've been in consuming media now. I'm like, if any chance you allow for your black people to get a comeuppance or a chance to escape, I feel like it is important that you allow them.
Yes.
I think like sometimes in media, in art form, we forget that, but I think we also forget that black people, they do think that we're a monolith. And so any chance that we should get for payback or anything, I'm fine with it. The way that movie ended was, one, it was horrible, but also I felt like at the time it was I feel like it was irresponsible. I think we also have to take like into consideration when we're putting out art. So I just want to say thank you so much for that because I had very, very high feelings about that. And so I just think like black people deserve those moments in stories, whether they're fiction or not. My next question, both What We Leave Behind and Missing White Woman push against erasure of voices, histories, and justice. What do you hope your stories leave behind for future black women writers and readers of suspense?
I think I'm gonna go on my tangent, or I think when it comes, it's hard to be just a black woman in publishing, right? But I think also with crime fiction, we tend to be ignored. I have my theories about that, because all of us get along really, really, really well, and we're just like in the corner, like hanging out, like, and everyone else is like fighting over there. We're like, what's going on? Like, all this drama, you'll never see drama with us. And so it's just like we have like a group chat. We're just like, hey, what's going on? Wait, what was the question? I was on my tangent. Oh, the legacy. Okay.
Both What We Leave Behind and Missing White Women push against erasure of voices, histories, and justice. What do you hope your stories leave behind for future black women writers?
I not even just my story. I just want my work. So I was lucky that I was a teenager in the 90s when Terry McMillan was selling books out of her car, and Walter Mosley and Elin Harris. And I love mysteries. And that was like the first time that they were like, publishers were like, oh, if black people write books, people will read them. And so I had so many amazing books to read. Valerie Wilson Wesley, like, I just love her. And I would have so many great crime fiction by black women to read. And representation is so important. However, publishing is fickle and they treat us like a trend. And by like the time you're putting your books out, which wasn't crime fiction, a lot of them, except for Walter Mosley, all of those black writers who published crime fiction in the 90s don't publish. Valerie Wilson Wesley does, but like Easy Rollins is like amazing that that's lasted so long. And so I just want to make sure that all three of us and everyone else, we're putting in that work, so the next, anyone else in here who writes crime fiction, who wants to publish their book, they can't go, because they go, oh, black books don't hit the bestseller list. S.A. Cosby, Alyssa Cole did. You know, black books don't win awards. Wanda Morris, Kelly Garrett did. You know, black books aren't a Good Morning America book club pick, like Rachel House of Hollis. You know, so I'm putting this fight, so we fight hard people before us fought hard, so it's easier for us. And I'm fighting my ass off, so it's easier for you and for anyone else who comes out that they can't be told all the things they're going to tell you, because they're still going to tell it to you, but you're going to be able to say that's not true. So that's my thing. It's not even just my work. It's like it's my life's work, but it's not my book. That's like how.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Ditto.
What else can you say? What else can you say?
It's true. It really is true, because as Black writers, publishing, I can't even begin to tell you the nonsense that we hear. Oh, sorry, we can't pay you more money because you've never made the bestseller list. Meanwhile, they tell another Black writer at my same house, oh, sorry, we can't pay you more money because you've never won an award. And it was like, wait a minute. And so we just happened to get to talking. And we're like, wait, but they told me. And she's like, yeah, but they told me. And I'm like, what the hell?
Wait, I have a friend who has been on the bestseller list and won an award, and they told them, oh, you missed your deadlines. That's why we can't give you more money. So they will always find a reason.
See?
Always find a reason.
I'll say on the
They're publishing Jennifer Armentrout.
Yeah.
And they're literally putting garlic mayo sentences
in the pages.
Fuck it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's a vampire book. So they're putting
Who said we
garlic
want that?
mayo scent in the book.
What?
Who said we wanted that?
And I'll also say like
Not when produce is expensive.
and also on the other side of like in terms of like booking and stuff like that, they won't even reach out to y'all for us.
I'm thinking mold. Mold.
We didn't even hear about this until Casey reached out personally.
Exactly. We came up we came up against that with so many authors, and then around the time when we want authors to come, it's too late or the event is booked out. So I, as a reader, and that's the one on the other side, I want you guys to know that we're reaching out to y'all. I'm sliding in DMs. I'm doing everything possible I can to get people to talk to you guys, to get you guys out to events. So it's not, you guys aren't just seeing, we're seeing it on our side as well. And so that's a big part of like why I wanted to be out here and just like uplift you guys.
And the other thing that helps too is pre-orders. If you can pre-order our books, when we say, hey, look, I got a new book, hit the pre-order button, because a lot of times they use that as an excuse to, pre-order numbers were really low, and so we're only going to order 5,000 of your books to sell and put in stores. Then meanwhile, y'all go to the stores when the book comes out, and it's like, the book is sold out. I can't find the book. That's why pre-orders are so important.
And I'll be honest too, like I don't have a paperback for Missing White Woman because they refused, and they tried to act like it was to protect me. Like, oh, so your sales track still, and I was like, well, I'm never going to earn my advance out because now I don't have that paperback track too, because you're not promoting a hardcover that came out a year and a half ago. So it's just the stuff you hear is so fascinating. So that's why we need the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
How as a community.
Hold that quote. Hold it, because I'm gonna open up. Hold it right there. I'm coming right 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. I want to say before we open up for questions, I just want to say thank you. As someone who has been a thriller crime fiction reader for a long time, it's very hard to have I'm going to get emotional. It's been very hard to see myself in stories, that I wanted to read, and stories that were fun and thrilling and that brought different perspectives to me. So I want to say thank you guys so much.
Thank you for supporting us.
Okay, now we'll open up the floor for questioning. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, so just off of the last part, how as a community outside of pre-ordering books, like say for example, I've never heard of you guys, but I like thrillers, right? And I saw what was going on with Shanora Williams.
Yes.
I love her stuff, so now I'm going to give you guys,
Thank you.
read. But how do you do that? Or how do we go about it after the pre-order part? Like, how do we get y'all in there? Do you go to request? Like, I'm a Libby girl too, outside of Barnes Noble, so you have to sometimes put it on the
Request.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the thing. Is,
I forget about the book once I put on a request because it's like now it's
Yeah.
10 months later and now they're telling us about it.
Yeah,
So.
it's like ask your libraries to buy. You don't have to buy the book yourself. Ask the libraries to buy it. You know, if you're in book clubs, tell your book clubs about it.
Yep.
You know, just tell people you know about the book. You know, that's the thing is, if they're not going to support us, then you guys need to. And we know like how it's like community. We all talk to each other and behind the scenes. So that's what it is, you know. And just read. I'm just happy if someone reads. They say they read my book. I don't care if you liked it or not. Like, don't tell me. If you didn't like it, do not tell me. Like, no, just like you read it. I'm like, okay, great. Like, you don't have to lie. But like, you know, like that's the thing. It's just the fact that you read it. That right there just helps us.
Yeah, and support events like this too. The fact that you all are coming to events like this means the world, because I think I heard somebody say this, that, oh, you know, Black people attended this event that were like, yeah, we read, we go to events, we do all the things, right? We eat socially.
Like, we're not just getting racism out every like, oh, we're just racism hitting me like we do every stuff. We're
Exactly,
normal.
exactly. We read all the books too.
Yeah.
Can I suggest also, like, you like Shanora? Ask Shanora on her socials, who else should I read? And say, all of us. Because
She better setting.
And also, like,
that's how it works.
if you're on TikTok, like black thriller books or like black TikTok, black book talk, black
That's how I've
Instagram.
been finding
Yes,
it.
yes.
I'm gonna get to you. I'm gonna plug. So I have co-founded a group called Crime Writers of Color. Me, Juji Pandian, and Walter Mosley, and we have a website, crimewritersofcolor.com, and we have a book section, and it lists books by both subgenre like cozy, PI, traditional, but also by ethnicity. So if you like books, go to there and you'll see them, and you can find them. Literally, we have so many books listed, like 100.
Oh, and also I would suggest asking your local bookstore.
Oh, that's
They
a good one,
have
too.
a brick and book. What is it? Brick and mortar bookstore. Because I didn't even have my book. Didn't do anything until, and they did it.
That's what I'm saying. Let's say, for example, I go and ask for your book, right? And they say, oh, we don't have it. I feel like
Ask if they
they're
can
just
order
gonna
it.
say, okay.
No, her.
Local books.
Any book I've gone to different ones, because I'm from Miami, so I go to different ones. We have a black bookstore, but it's like I feel like it stops and they say no, we don't have that book, and it doesn't like. Do you say, hey, would you order it?
Yes. Say that. Please let you know if you can order it. If you can order it. Yes.
On social media, you tag the publisher and you tag the bookstore because they all look at that.
Keep asking. I had to basically populate Black children's book in our children's section all on my own. I had a list of like 150 Black books. They were like, we don't know what to do, and I was pretty much the only Black manager, so here they come saying what we're gonna do. So go pre-order there and keep buying. If that's your only one, keep buying there. They will eventually say, hey, why are all these, like, a morning meeting, somebody was like, who keeps selling Live Free More First Door, Black Door of President? And I was like, that is me. That book is still in stock on my storage shelf because I pushed it and I kept pushing it. Make friends
Thank
with
you.
booksellers, bring books in, bring ARCs in, go talk to them, say, I want this book here. That's how you do it with Barnes & Noble. Eventually.
Kaya, did you still have a question? Oh, okay.
Anybody? We got time for me a question or two. Anybody else? Yeah. No, you go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I finished what you leave behind this week, and I appreciated it because I worked in disaster recovery housing after Katrina, and that was a huge issue. On the federal dollar side, we came up with some workarounds. It was like a pilot program after these folks at the door had been closed time and time again because they've been living in the house for 150 years,
paying the
and
taxes,
never
doing
owned a
everything.
succession.
Exactly.
And so the waiver, the workaround that we were able to get approved, which would not happen today, because they want to sweep up those lands and turn it into beachfront property and whatever else. But they were able to show us, I think 5 years or 3 years, whatever it was, that they were residents of the home. And we worked with affidavits to be able to get the 5 people who should be part of the succession to sign off and say, I'm fine with them putting money into this house to fix it.
Yeah.
And in most instances, it worked. But then in others, you know,
It didn't.
You know, your girl has been in this house for 100 years.
Quick
Sign it
plug.
so we can fix this.
There's a documentary called Silver Dollar Road, and it is about these two brothers who spent 8 years in prison or in jail. It was a local jail. Spent 8 years in jail because they refused to move off of the land or tear down the homes that a real estate developer had come in and illegally usurped from under them. And they went to jail for 8 years because they refused to turn over their property. I'm telling you, it's a crime in plain sight. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I have business cards. If anyone wants a card, let me know. It has all my books listed on it.
Oh, yeah. You guys were starting at 4?
At 4, but I can give you cards now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Let me get it. This is for I'm gonna get you.